movement. So that was as far from feminism as I don't know. Fish from bicycle. Yeah, well, so I support the woman's right to vote, of course, and I support a woman's right to become a president of the United States, but I don't support women's right to be, to beat me to pulp as Eugene.
And there's another question about
yes.
Mike.
Yeah.
Last week, I put off asking questions because I was hoping it would be filled in this week.
Yeah.
But last week, I didn't find any content to the discussion. What I did hear was a caricature of the feminist movement that I don't think anybody who lived through it would recognize. And that caricature was largely painted by people you quoted who disagreed with the feminist movement. I didn't hear either really in their quotes or any of your analysis what it was that was disagreed with. What I did hear was a lot of what I heard today was quotes that were sneered at as if it was self-obvious what was wrong with the quotations, with no specific critique.
Example?
With no specific critique being made. Okay, you can play back the recording and listen to quotation after quotation after quotation.
Can you pull out one example that we could hone in on for
Yeah, I could just,
No, I won't, because I have more I want to say, and then I'll come back and give specifics if you like.
Okay.
What happened today was a character assassination of one major, influential, both ideologically and organizationally, person in the feminist movement, and the character assassination of another who was a minor, non-influential person, either ideologically or organizationally, who was an easy target. That's a particularly vicious, personal character assassination, and in a place where we hear so often that ad hominem arguments are not to be heard or presented. I found the entire hour and a quarter one extended ad hominem argument against these two people, and by implication against the movement that has never been fairly represented. Okay, either in terms of what the movement itself says, or in terms of the critique that's being made of it. It's easy to set up straw men, or straw women in this case, who represent something that we disagree with, and then say what it is that we disagree, where they themselves have never represented that notion. And that's what I find happening here in this entire critique of feminism. Frieden and Steinman were not radical feminists. And most of the people that were being quoted last week were not radical feminists.
Thank you. Do you have a question?
Oh, I could say that.
No, I have remarks here, and those are my remarks.
Thank you.
Well, I would say, what is a movement? People
make movement. They are leaders of movement, and of course there were some feminists, as mentioned by me, Tammy Bruce, who finally just quit that movement, and now she writes books about it. And I don't in no way would imply that like thousands and thousands of just foot soldiers of feminist movement are just as bad as Betty Friedan was, or Dworkin, or Steinem, or others. But that is leadership. That is their leadership. And what I wanted to expose today, and yes, I agree with you that this is character assassination. Any exposure is character assassination. Because by showing how nasty were these two women, well, you just kind of show that fish rots from head. If I correct way, and that Betty Friedan was lying about her being communist. That's not my discovery, but Professor Horowitz's, who wrote fairly big book about it, and he's even sympathetic to Friedan, and that Andrea Dworkin was really ugly, so you can see photo, and she really was, and that she was nasty as hell. So she writes in her autobiography, and well, it's hard to imagine to me, but they're saying that about dead people you say only good things or nothing. But when I read all those obituaries after her death that are still available on the internet, and when you read obituary of someone who just died, so it's really shocking when even those who write obituaries, that's how ugly and nasty she was. So she probably was. I don't know. I never met her, and well, lucky me. But probably she was. So yes, I agree with you that these are character assassinations, and just as those on the left, like Portland's Antifa, how they assassinate us, like Tim Covert in Portland, so well we have to beat them back, and this is what I do. They declared war on us, so well we should accommodate them and assassinate their icons like Betty Friedan and Dworkin and all others, liberals and communists and anarchists. Yes, we should assassinate.
And a genuine critique, perhaps, of what feminists actually say. In fact, when can we expect, maybe, and I'd be interested in hearing this, the basis from which you make criticisms? What are the positive values that you hold? How would you like society to be so that we might understand, held against these standards, how it is that you critique what we have come to be and the way we have come to be it?
Well, this is all sophistry. As I say, there's war, there are enemies,
and you fight your enemies, and those are my enemies. So I don't care about their positive little bits. They're enemies, like the Germans were enemies in World War II, or you know, like that. This is not about critique or positive things. If you want to hear positive things, so you can, when school year starts, I can guarantee you that during school year there would be at least a dozen of feminist speakers on this campus, very positive about feminism. So you can choose from all those speakers, including, I don't know, let's hope maybe Angela Davis would come for fourth time to Eugene, or Gloria Steinem. I believe she was here once. And but how often you hear assassination of that movement?
Well, every time I come here, or will you?
Well, this is what the Pacifica.
To go someplace else. Did you hear him say that? To hear something positive, people should go someplace else.
Well, yes, partially I agree with you that this is form for critique, and we
hear critique from culture of critique, of Frankfurt School critique about everything, about Nazis, Holocaust deniers, supremacists, racists, and fundamentalists, traditionalists, go and go and go, but nobody really nowadays even dare to say something against the left, against anti-fascists, against feminists, against homosexual activists. So this is what I do. Well, I don't say that Pacifica Forum as anarchistic group is devoted to attack such leftist movements and persons, but myself, and I speak for myself, yes, my purpose here is to attack Zionist, feminist, communist, anarchist, and you name it. That's, I think, the explanation. Yes.
Yeah, I just think I really loved the lecture, but I think you missed an opportunity. Last week you brought Christine Hoff Summer's book with you, and she has made some really telling criticisms of the feminist movement from the point of view of a different kind of feminist.
Great.
I think she is. And I just wondered if maybe you would agree that you might have mentioned her along the way to support some of your points. And
what I can say, she made some good points there, and it was a good book, but a little bit too dry for me, I would say, too dry, because I read so many books, and I didn't get hooked by that book. It's sort of like, she repeats things and then kind of tries to be nice and not to. While Tammy Bruce, my new discovery, and she's really good. She is former feminist. She quit the feminist. She's still lesbian, and she just hits right where the character assassinations with totally. So I like more of her book. But I really admire Summers. Yes, I read her book and I had it. And maybe next week I will fix something.
I have quite a few pieces I copied from that book.
It sounded like you thought the ideal family situation was that the woman stays home and has 6 babies.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And the guy goes out and
work and earns enough for the family.
Is that just being humorous, or is that?
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I agree that if woman can.
Maybe not 6. I just did that. I just got to spend 25 years raising my children myself while my husband worked.
They should never go out, even if the kids are grown, they shouldn't go out and have a career?
No, if they want, they can have a career, but
who else will raise the children?
Yeah, well, children should come first. Family should come first, and if she can afford that, and her husband can earn enough money, unfortunately, well, nowadays it's unrealistic. But that's ideal. That's ideal. And women should be supported by the state, or how it used to be in Europe up till recently, what was called like welfare states, from cradle to grave welfare states. So women could, after giving birth, they had like 2 years. Well, they still have it in Lithuania, yeah. So that's ideal. But everything is just destroyed.
Yeah.
Germany.
And we're right at 4:30.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap.
Next week I will talk about what happened to families, to children, to women, that's terrible things, but a little dry statistically.
Thank you.
Nothing to you. Yeah, well.